Hi everyone, welcome to Kingsville Community Center, you in person, and welcome everybody streaming online. I'm Karen Edgerton, I am a holistic nutritionist, and today we are going to talk about cholesterol and how it plays a role in hormone health. So I added this little About Me page. I grew up in Kingsville and I became a certified general machinist and worked at North Star Aerospace for 19 years. Before then, though, I suffered from hormone imbalances since my early teen years and other gut health symptoms, all after being diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, even though I thought I led a healthy lifestyle. But once chronic heartburn during a stressful time in my life surfaced, I tried something new, and it was the holistic natural approach that changed my view of what wellness was, and it involved many little changes. And after years of supporting my body with those changes, I finally started seeing results, and I knew I wanted to help others overcome their health issues, knowing that I wasn't alone in this struggle. And so I enrolled in the Canadian School of Natural Nutrition and retired from the machining trade to become a registered holistic nutritionist, and that is pretty much focusing on your whole body, wellness focused, and not just weight loss. And that being said, I am not a doctor. This is just for educational purposes only. I thought I'd throw that in there. And here's a little recap of from last month's talk about cortisol and all the other hormones. What are they? They are chemical messengers that help regulate the systems in the body and our bodily functions. It's sending signals so that our body does the right things at the right time. And we wouldn't be who we are without them, or we technically wouldn't be alive. And cholesterol is the building block of hormones. So progesterone is a precursor to testosterone and cortisol. And those are all and the progesterone and testosterone are made from cortisol. So you're not going to have any stress hormone without the cholesterol. And when our stress hormone cortisol goes up, we need more progesterone, which we will in turn call on more cholesterol. So the players in hormone balance are your adrenal hormones, thyroid hormones, reproductive hormones, digestive hormones, the gut, the liver. That's what we're going to be talking about today as well. And the pancreas, that'll be next month's talk on insulin, and the pineal gland and the hypothalamus, and those are located in the brain. So as you can see, your whole body plays a role in your hormone regulation. So the liver, it is known as the powerhouse of the body. It has a lot of jobs, and I wanted to elaborate more on that because that is probably the root cause of most health issues. And as you can see, it's bigger than your stomach, and it's kind of like a sponge. So now you kind of know where it's located. So if you have an issue, you could feel dull pain or tenderness there. It's the right upper rib cage. And the role of the liver is to make cholesterol, which the body needs to make progesterone, estrogen, testosterone, and cortisol. And another main function of it is to attack tissue, and so that it will heal the inflammation from it. And it is the key organ to remove toxins from the body, including excess hormones such as estrogen and cortisol, which we learned last month that those will get recirculated if the liver isn't supported properly, and that will then call on more cholesterol. And it produces and secretes bile to break down fats, and that's stored in the gallbladder. In this diagram, I like this diagram because it shows you where the gallbladder is and where the bile duct attaches, and as you can see, it's under the stomach, it's in the duodenum. And that's where it will break down any fats that haven't been broken down by the enzyme lipase. And that's where we have a lot of problems with gallbladder issues. And bile is made up of bile salts, cholesterol, phospholipids, and electrolytes. It metabolizes and stores nutrients like vitamins and minerals absorbed in the intestines. So that's when, it's after the duodenum when you start absorbing all the nutrients from your food. And if it's not broken down properly, you're not going to absorb it. It also detoxifies and purifies the blood of all toxins like ammonia, heavy metals, and dyes. And it sends these now purified clean nutrients in the body to every cell for the body to use. And it helps maintain normal glucose levels for proper energy. We're going to learn about that next month. And it makes proteins for healthy blood clotting. It also normalizes hormone levels and aids in the elimination of the excess for regulation of those. And an overburdened liver will not produce enough bile to break down fats, resulting in pain in that upper right side of our abdomen, and it's just under the rib cage. It will not produce the correct amount of hormones needed for most processes in the body, and not just the reproductive ones. A good example would be melatonin, which helps us get to sleep. And it also, believe it or not, melatonin helps inhibit gallstone formation. And reproductive hormone issues and imbalances will happen mostly estrogen dominance, because it's just getting recirculated and it's not being eliminated. And you're going to learn how to do that efficiently today. An overburdened liver, it won't be able to control cholesterol levels and eliminate cholesterol in the bile, and that will result in high levels of LDL and low levels of HDL. Blood glucose won't be balanced because the liver responds to pancreatic insulin and glucagon on an ongoing basis, and that will result in lows and spikes in your energy. And it will also store more fat due to the lack of bile available to break down, and it'll be recirculated in the blood, leading to a fatty liver. In this diagram, you can see all the little fat molecules, and you can also see how it's enlarged there. So signs of a sluggish liver: PMS in women and hormone imbalances, hypoglycemia, food allergies and sensitivities, chemical hypersensitivities, elevated blood cholesterol, fatigue and low energy, depression, headache, dizziness, difficulty getting up in the morning, and nausea, bad breath, constipation, bloating, greasy stools, and an intolerance to ingested fats. Fun, fun, fun. Some more signs are tender liver and gallbladder problems, itching and peeling or dry skin, psoriasis, rashes, and acne, fat-soluble vitamin deficiencies, those are A, D, E, and K, as well as the essential fatty acid deficiencies, weak and aching joints, muscles, ligaments, and tendons, emotional excess and moodiness, puffy eyelids upon rising, dark urine upon rising that gets clearer through the day, and that's probably due to the lack of electrolytes, because that's part of the bile that's made in the liver. Nervous energy at night and inability to fall asleep. So we talked about that last month with the high stress. And what burdens the liver? Anything that puts additional stress on the body, even emotional or physical. And viral and chemical hepatitis. And exposure to alcohol, drugs, no surprise there. Pesticides and herbicides, that's on the rise because of our farming practices, and it's hard to get away from those things. Industrial chemicals, I was 20 years exposed to all those. No wonder I had health issues. Formaldehyde, paints, fuels, solvents, anabolic steroids, oral contraceptives, so birth control pills. That was another thing I was on for a long time. And chemotherapy, radiation, high dose acetaminophen or aspirin. Sure.
Does that include
Hairdressing,
hairdressing?
yeah. Yeah, nail polish, lot. Yeah, you don't think about it. And we absorb a lot more than what we think just through our skin. It's not just the inhalation of it. And I never wore gloves, doing like hydraulic oil and coolants. So it all makes sense now that I know. And then I started wearing gloves, and I left it, left that behind. So, and then pretty much any drug, because your liver has to deal with it, and that's even gas fumes when you're pumping gas, all these things, your liver, you got to think of it as like a sponge, really. Yeah, and that's why they call it the powerhouse. So focus on the liver, and you'll see things start changing in your health. Some more things that burden it are dietary sources of free radicals, and we're going to get into more free radical talk as far as we keep going, such as rancid oils, fried food, burnt or charred meat. Yep, barbecue. But I'm going to give you a tip how to counteract that. Preservatives, additives, artificial sweeteners, flavorings, trans fat, and hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated fats. That's your salad dressings, margarine, mayonnaise, those things. Dysbiosis, that is a poor microbiome of the digestive system. So too much bad bacteria to the good bacteria ratio. And that will include constipation and bloating, a refined food diet with low fiber, excess calories, low nutrient intake, candidiasis, and that is excess yeast in your digestive system, and that happens in both men and women. Silver, mercury fillings, root canals, crowns, and heavy metals. So now let's get to cholesterol. Now you know where it's made and what needs to happen. So are you scared of cholesterol? If you might be, if you stay away from foods with cholesterol in them, like butter, eggs, red meat, shellfish, and sweets. You were told there was good and bad cholesterol. I'm going to elaborate a little more on that too. And you are on cholesterol-lowering drugs. And you are even more confused now from last month when I explained how hormones are made from cholesterol and why you need these other hormones. So what we do know about cholesterol is it is a type of sterol, and it's part of a fat molecule, and it is found in almost every cell of our body. And it is classified as a steroid. And higher levels are found in the liver, brain, and nervous tissue, and in the blood. And being it manufactured in the liver, there's no surprise that they'd be higher in those areas. And it is a precursor to bile acids and sex hormones. If you take anything from my talk today, I hope it's this, is that it is not present in any plant food and cannot be produced by any plant. That's cholesterol. And 75% of the cholesterol you have in your body right now, your body made with no help, and 25 of it comes from food. I've seen numbers like a little bit off of there, but that's pretty much the average. And it also helps repair tissue. It responds to chronic inflammation. So when our inflammation goes up, then so does our cholesterol levels. And LDL is not cholesterol. I know that's been told that it's the bad cholesterol. It is actually low density lipoprotein and is used to transport your cholesterol in the blood to where it is needed to make hormones and bile and other things and to do its job. And HDL is a high density lipoprotein used to transport the excess back to the liver, and that's going to prevent the high cholesterol. So you can think of it as a train, those LDL and HDL, and cholesterol's the sitting on there getting ready to go off on wherever it's supposed to get off the train. And Lipitor and Crestor and the statin drugs are nothing more than anti-inflammatories, and that's the conventional medicine. That's what they're doing. They know that when you have high cholesterol, there's inflammation, so let's give you an anti-inflammatory.
So, question, sorry.
That's okay.
Would, let's say, meloxicam or ibuprofen, which are anti-inflammatories, have the same effect or similar effect instead of the statins because of the side effects from the statins?
I'm not sure if it is a steroid, because that's what technically those are, right?
No.
Yeah, they're not. So I'm thinking they probably,
Anti-inflammatory.
yeah, they probably don't have that same effect since it's not steroid.
So is a statin a steroid?
I think so.
I thought you just said it's an anti-inflammatory.
Well, it is. It is classified as an anti-inflammatory,
Okay.
but I think there's different I'm not sure. Like I said, I'm not a doctor. I will look into that though, and I will tell you next month, okay? So the problem with cholesterol is when your inflammation goes up, so does your cholesterol. If cholesterol is attacked by free radicals in the blood, it is oxidized, and it is that cholesterol, so the oxidized cholesterol, that's going to do the damage to your arteries. And if there isn't enough HDL, that high-density lipoprotein, to bring it back, there's the more potential for the cholesterol to oxidize, which is why we need more HDL to bring it back. And when we need more hormones made, like cortisol, our stress hormone, our cholesterol levels go up. And excess estrogen is linked to more cholesterol. And that's making women more prone to gallstones and gallbladder issues. And I've seen it in a number of my clients. And that is due to an overburdened liver. So are you guys starting to see the connections here? Everything's stemmed from that powerhouse, the liver. And birth control pills do elevate the chances of gallbladder issues because you're giving yourself more hormones, and more cholesterol is going to be needed, and those put a stress on the liver as well. The good news for cholesterol is it is not just an anti-inflammatory, but it also an antimicrobial.
Or did go another floor? Upstairs? Oh, yeah, okay.
It's okay, Fran. So it is not just an anti-inflammatory, but it is antimicrobial, and that helps benefit our microflora and our microbiome. And it will inhibit bad bacteria when cholesterol is being excreted through the colon. And there have been studies done on certain strains of microbes. This is where it fascinates me. I love learning about these, the role of bacteria and microbes. And I'm glad that research is finally starting to pick up on this and study them. So specifically, B. lognum, SPM 1207, and Lactobacillus helveticus and Saccharomyces cerevisiae they're finding that these certain strains, that specific one, SPM 1207, because there's many different strains of each type of microbe, these help lower LDL and raise HDL levels in the blood. And that is starting to prove the importance on gut health. And good bacteria plays a role in lowering inflammation, and as in turn, the bad bacteria promotes it. And that was the missing puzzle piece in my health journey, why I was striving and not getting anywhere, as I was missing that microbiome health. So some more good news for cholesterol. Plant sterols, they are found in plants, fruits, vegetables, and even herbs, and they will latch onto receptor sites of a cell, so ingested cholesterol won't be absorbed and supports proper elimination of it. So plant sterols are also known to help inflammation. And bile is used to help transport cholesterol out of the body, also made in the liver, and fiber latches onto bile for elimination, as well as excess estrogens, cholesterol, and toxins. And it helps inflammation, so cholesterol helps inflammation, but if you don't cut down on your inflammation source, it's just going to keep calling for more. So trying to get to the root cause of that inflammation is part of the whole picture. So ways to combat the negative effects of cholesterol. Plant sterols, like I said, cholesterol is not found in plants, but plant sterols are. And just like cholesterol is a sterol, when you eat food with cholesterol, pair it with a plant source. And that's fruits and vegetables and herbs. And you can also get plant sterols as a supplement. Cutting out processed foods, which have hidden trans fats in them. So even if the package says 0 grams, I want you to start thinking about how that food was made, so processed. What kind of oil was used for it? Because chances are that oil was rancid after they manufactured it, just from their practices, because fat molecules are very volatile to light, heat, air, and even time. So you're taking this already rancid oil, then you're heating it up again, and who knows what's happening to the structure of the entire food that you're eating. And all vegetable oils are derived from soybeans, sesame, safflower oil, sunflower, corn, and walnut. And canola oil is made from soybeans, if you didn't know. And the processing done to make these oils turn the oil rancid, which makes it a free radical. And as I mentioned earlier, the cholesterol mixed with free radicals oxidizes it, and that's what turns it into bad cholesterol. So you want to avoid free radicals because they actually promote inflammation as well. So you could replace it with an extra virgin olive oil, and not all oils are created equally. And I've done a talk on this 2 years ago. And if you'd like to learn more about that process and what I know based on research and what's out there on the market, you can talk to me after, or reach out to me, call me up, whatever. So up your fiber content, because that helps latch onto cholesterol in the digestive system, and that's going to remove it, preventing it from recirculating and oxidizing. So there's another win for plants, not just those plant sterols. And this includes grains and legumes. And I'd also like to mention that most plants and vegetables and fruits are high in antioxidants, and that's going to combat the free radicals. So there's actually 3 wins for vegetables. And another way would be to work on your gut health. And if you want more help on that, you can contact me as well. Support your liver. That's the powerhouse of the body. I'm going to give you guys some foods that help support and cleanse your liver. And like last month, cutting down on your stress levels is going to be huge too. And the more you can get out of that fight or flight mode and into rest and digest, then you're getting enough bile, you're getting enough, things are going to work properly. And exercise has also been proven to lower LDL and increase HDL levels. And it also increases bile flow. Stagnant bile is really, it does a number. And there's certain, and it's just, certain foods will help stimulate it, movement will stimulate it, and I believe there'd be a lot less gallbladder issues and liver issues if we focus more on our bile and keeping that flowing. And I might even do a talk on gallstones because I see that a lot, and just gallbladder health in the future. We'll see. So foods that support the liver: cruciferous vegetables such as broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, bok choy, and kale. Calcium D glucarate foods such as apples, and that's, the skin will have pectin in them, really high in fiber. Grapefruit, pears, and oranges. Tomatoes, asparagus, and reishi mushroom. So all these listed fruits and vegetables right off the bat. So it's good that all these foods will help cholesterol, liver, everything. And black seed oil, black cumin seed, I think that's also good for inflammation as well. Artichokes and Jerusalem artichokes. I have yet to find Jerusalem artichokes, but I haven't looked really hard in the grocery stores around here. Berries, pomegranate, elma, that's Indian gooseberry. I've never seen that or looked for that either. Barberry, and of course green tea and milk thistle tea. You can also do milk thistle in a tincture form or pills, which will help support your liver. Lemons and limes, that is a really good bile stimulating food. So if you could do some freshly squeezed lemon, even half a lemon in water, if you as soon as you get up in the morning, or half an hour to an hour before you eat, that's going to stimulate the bile, and then it's ready, it's triggered, it's going to start breaking down the fats. Garlic and onions, those are high in antioxidants and antimicrobial, and it will also combat the free radicals from your barbecuing. So if you're going to barbecue a steak, make sure you have garlic and onions somewhere in that meal, and then you'll counteract the effects of those free radicals. And beets, of course, chicory, burdock root, schisandra berry, that's good for supporting your hormones as well. And fermented foods, good for the gut. Now, dark chocolate, I just want to touch, you got to have the chalky kind because sugar promotes inflammation. So if you can find one that you like, even the powdered, added to smoothies, it really beefs up your smoothie. And it's also high in magnesium, which helps your brain and helps stress levels. If you don't like lemons and limes, bitter greens are good, and that will stimulate the bile as well. Kale, dandelion, arugula, Swiss chard, rapini, beet greens, mustard greens, radicchio, collard greens, and bitter melon. And of course, we touched on this last month, essential fatty acids. That's the good fats from salmon, tuna, herring, sardines, halibut, cod, chia seeds, hemp seeds, and flax seeds. The last ones are the plant versions, and I just want to stress that if you'd want to pair that with a high mineral vitamin content. So if you take a multivitamin, you could take it with a meal that you pair that, just so you get a whole broad section of all the nutrients to make the fats absorbable. So the overall picture, and I hope from all this information you're starting to see how when you have a hormone imbalance, it's never going to be just one hormone, and there's so many players in the body involved, and they all have their role in your overall health. So focusing on one will never be enough, and it will be an ongoing process. So that's the problem with diets, is that you usually only go on them for a short period of time, and then you go back to your old ways. So if you can get your lifestyle set up so that you're supporting your liver every day, then you don't have to worry about doing detoxes, doing diets. Everything will just fall into place. And you need to look at the whole picture and touch on all the areas. And the best way to do that is work with someone who has the knowledge and who's from experience and education, and living it out and proving that the approaches work, because you have to learn from your experience. So that's the whole key to change. If you don't see change, you're not going to do it. And if you don't know why you're doing something, you're not going to do it. So I think that's all the talk, and I just want to let you know what's available for you. I offer one-on-one consults as well, and I can do them virtual. And I help figure out the root problem of your health conditions by learning your daily habits. And it's very, I want to learn your whole day, what you're doing every day, because these little things could be the hang-up. If you have barbecue a lot, like little things like that. And I also offer professional grade high quality supplements and a 12-week online educational and functional hormone balancing program with gut health and other support needed for proper hormone function. And here is everything that you would get with my program. The biggest thing is you get 3-hour one-on-ones worked in at strategic times, and it's so that you've already hit the points, and I'm not telling you the same thing over and over again, and that will help propel you into transformation more. And if you want to talk to me more about what's involved, I'm here. Give me a call. Book a 15-minute meet and greet even. And that is all. Thanks, everybody. Oh, any questions? No? Yes. All right. Thank you, guys.
So, am I getting it right? So even your gallbladder issues is linked back to your liver?
Yes. Yep. Because it's like a sponge. So if it's not sending out the bile, and if your liver has too many things to do during the day, and some things we're giving it, some things we have no control over, that's when it won't circulate the blood, it won't detoxify the blood, and yeah, most.
For the root cause of gallstones could be like a dysfunction in the liver.
Yeah.
Or a compromise.
Yeah. Or just not supporting it. Like our Western civilized, like we don't really the foods that we eat and our habits, we're doing the wrong thing to support our liver instead of the right. So it's just, and little things. So